Hi, my name is Steve Voberl. I'm a licensed physical therapist in Los Angeles, California. My father had a whole bunch of balance questions, and he wanted me to write up this workout for him. I thought it was best to kind of put a video together for him so that he can participate in it and see it and experience it. So we're going to do a little video here. It's going to take a little while, but we're going to go through balance and how balance degrades as we get a little bit older, and how we can improve that in a simple and easy way at home in a safe manner. So one thing you're going to need is you're going to need something like a stool like this, a chair that's not going to move on you, and something along those lines. It can be a folding chair that stands in front of you. It can be a stool. This stool will actually be more steady this way versus this way, right? So you got to think about the different ways that these chairs are not good because they move and spin, right? So these are fall hazards in general, or trip hazards, or fall hazards, as I like to say. We have three components of balance. Hey, Ben. Hi. So we have three components of balance, right? We have our eyes. We balance using our eyes. We look at things. We have our inner ear, which is tells us when we're out. You go to the spinny rides at an amusement park. Well, that messes with your inner ear. Or a spinny ride like this, right? And then you stand up and you fall down, right? Right. So you can have your inner ear helps you balance, and then you have what's called your proprioception. Proprioception is your body's ability to tell where you are in space. And what I mean by that, if you ever watch a piano player, they don't look at their hands. If you watch somebody who's typing, they don't look at their hands. They know where they are and they know where they're going. The joint tells the brain where it is in relation. Like, I know my arms are bent without having to look at them. I know they're straight. Proprioception allows my ankles, my knees, and my hips to tell me how balanced I am. Okay, I'm going to have you go to another room soon. We're kind of doing a real video. It's going to go online. It's going to go on the internet. Okay? You can participate in a couple minutes. So what happens with older adults is they tend to feel like they're falling forward. But your levers, which is your foot's got a nice big section in front of it, the forefoot, and then your heel has this little bit of thing. So if I lean backwards, I'm very likely to fall, right? I can only go backwards a little distance before I will have to take a step. I can reach plenty far forward, get on my toes, and not fall over. People in general, as they age, they tend to feel like they're going to fall. They end up shifting their weight away from their toes, and they get on their heels, they fall backwards, and they can hit their head or break their hips. Hips, wrists, shoulders, whatever. The goal here of what the progression I'm going to do is I'm going to take you from a very wide base of support and make it a narrow base of support. A wide base of support might be somebody you see walking in a mall with a walker. They have the big 4 points of, they're walking with their walker. Sorry, I don't have one here. I guess I do have one on the porch, but, they're walking with that walker to give themselves a wider base of support so that they have more stability. And you'll see somebody who can stand on one foot. That's a very narrow, tiny base of support versus a big, wide base of support. Okay? I'm going to take you through the progression.
Stay back that way.
Stay back further?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take you through the progression of what I've been working on with my father in hopes that it'll help you at home, and he can watch it at home because I live across the country, and we can have a little bit of a way for him to practice his balance when I'm not around. Sound like a good deal? High five. All right. So I'm going to have you stand right there. I'm going to have Grampy stand up. And See, he does not like to fully straighten his legs. And he stands a little bit on his heels, so his toes come up. So we're just going to have him stand static for 30 seconds in this position. So your job there is to stand, and you're just going to feel and experience your ankles, your knees, and your hips. All you're doing is standing. When you get good at one of these exercises, when you feel comfortable in that position, you can move on to a more challenging aspect. To challenge him, because he's pretty stable right now as he's standing, he can look right and then left, and then right and then left, and then right and then left. If at any point he's going to keep doing this, if at any point he loses his balance, he has this in front of him to grab onto, and he has a chair in which to sit down behind. Right? This is pretty good. He hasn't lost his balance. We can challenge him further. I'm going to have him look up and down, and up and down, and up and down, and up and down, and up and down. He's doing pretty good here so far, right? So now what I can have him do is I'm going to have him come back to center. You're going to use me as your reference point. You're going to look right basically at the center of my chest. Thank you, honey. And this is like your focus point. In a couple seconds, I'm going to have you do what I call slow blinking. Slow blinking is where we take a couple seconds and we close our eyes. 1, 2, open. 1, 2, open. Closed, open. Closed, open. And you're going to progress this slow blinking to eyes closed for 30 seconds. He can actually do this one. He's probably already got his eyes closed. He already does. And he's standing. And what you'll see is he's got a little bit more sway than he did a couple seconds ago, but it's not bad. Right? He can complete this at 30 seconds. We're going to challenge him more. Go ahead and open your eyes. Good. Now I'm going to make it harder for him. How am I going to make it harder for him? I'm going to narrow his base of support. So he's going to put his feet together with his eyes open. There you go. If you have a hard time getting your feet together without holding on to something, touch something, get your feet together, get your balance, and then you can just stand. But if you're having difficulty getting your feet together, because I've run across this in my practice, is that people have a hard time just getting their feet together. But getting your feet together for him wasn't an issue. So now he's just practicing again static balancing. I'll put that way. Right?
Daddy,
you can,
should I just stand here the entire time?
or you can go to another room or stand there. Or you can practice everything he's doing.
Okay.
All right? So his feet are together. Are your feet together? All right? All right. Now, he's going to look right with his head, and then left, and then right, and left, and right, and left, and right, and left. And we're looking to be able to get 30 seconds of this without a loss of balance.
I feel some of my balance going.
I can see he's a little bit more uncomfortable. He feels it too. He also has a right knee pain, right hip pain. He's had a couple of surgeries in his back. I think you had a lumbar fusion.
Correct.
And I think you had a cervical fusion. See that? Did you see that? He's got a little tippy backwards to his left. If he falls, well, this is probably the worst part about this. Having a big concrete wall behind him. Big rock wall. Because head could go back and hit it, right? But we're in a relatively safe environment. Okay. And then we're going to go look up and down. Up and down, to me, is harder than left and right. Everybody's going to be a little different.
Yeah, because sometimes when you look up, you can fall backwards.
That's right.
I do that on purpose.
Okay. Over here for a second. So, he's doing pretty good there. So this isn't too bad. Where he gets into trouble is when he needs to take steps. So we're going to put this a little further forward. You're going to have you just step it out, just kind of shake it out, just relax, look forward. Just look forward, down. Because you're looking kind of up, I want you to look down, right? And just relax. There you go. Perfect. Now I'm going to have you step 1 foot forward in a second. If you want to take a little break, you can. You can sit down for a second. I'm going to have you focus on my feet for a second. We have, when we walk, we have to take a step, right? Eventually, we take a step and we're in what we call a single limb support. So I am walking where I don't have the other foot on the ground. And I don't have the other foot on the ground, and I don't have the other foot on the ground, right? So as I walk, I take a step, and a step, and a step, and a step, and a step. Just normal walking. But there are periods where I only have 1 foot on the ground. With this next step, we're going to go into stride. This is stride, where your feet are apart, but not in line. And then you have tandem, where they're in line. Tandem is a more difficult position because it's narrowing the base of support. It's making it harder. And the idea of challenging balance is to do it in a progressive way and in a safe way where you are progressing from a wide base of support to a narrow base of support. So for my father, I'm going to have him take a step forward with either foot just to the side. Go into stride. Now, his job here is to just balance. Your job is to balance, and you're going to feel your ankles, your knees, your hips. Which way do you feel you're going to fall? It's the way you look like you're going to fall.
Yeah.
So I want you to shift some of your weight to your right foot in the back. Now shift it again forward, but to the inside of this toe here. He has a tendency to not want to put his toes on the ground. It's really common. They come up. And when your toes come up, you end up falling backwards. So he's actually corrected really well right there. He got his weight forward and to his right. And if you can't get to this position again, if you have to hold on to something to get there, it's a good way to get there. And then you practice by taking your hand off and doing what I call quick taps. Tap. His balance becomes much better as soon as he gets his single point cane working. Can you go find the single point cane? It's right back there. Over by the door. You see, he got a little wobbly there. Now, I'm going to have him look right and left.
Wait, which one? There's 2.
Grab the black one.
Okay.
And what canes do is canes add that extra base of support.
Can you tell him to dig his toes into the floor?
Yeah.
Or grab the floor with his
Can
feet?
you try to grab the...
My toes are trying to grab, yeah.
Okay, so you're thinking about your whole foot, like...
Not the whole
Grip.
foot, but
Sorry.
just the toes.
You think of the
Try
whole...
to like have your toes kind of reach down in and
Grab the
now
floor
lean
with your
that way
toes.
just a little bit.
That's going to be tough.
Just a little bit, just like...
Okay.
And balance is that far off. It's not a lot, right? So for him, if we want to increase his balance, I put this in his hand, he's going to be steady as a rock. Right? I'm going to take that away from him, though, because that's not what we're really trying to do. I just wanted to point out that this is a way of increasing a base of support. It doesn't necessarily only have to be a front wheel walker or a walker. It can be a cane or whatever. I'm going to put that right there for now. Okay. Now you're going to look up and down. So as you can see, what we're doing is we're challenging those 3 areas of balance I was talking about earlier. Well, we haven't challenged proprioception, but we're challenging the inner ear by making him move his head. And we're also challenging the vision by making him move his head, right? He's not able to focus on one specific spot. Now look left and right. And there it is. See, he had to finally take a step. So this is as challenging as we want to go until he's really good at it. As soon as you start to lose your balance in any area, you stay in that area where you've been losing your balance.
So then does
or you increase your base of support. Yes?
So does he always start with this exercise, or does he always
No,
build up?
You can build up to it.
And
it's
then
always good to build up to it. And then now you're pretty good here, right? Look straight ahead, find something to focus on, and go ahead and try closing your eyes. And open them. Got it. Right? Shift your weight a little further forward. Bend that knee. There you go. Close your eyes.
1,000, 2, 1,000.
And open them.
And if that goes well, his next step is to keep them closed for 30 seconds, right?
Correct.
Daddy, I've been noticing something. Whenever we do one more thing that has something to do with the body, then we do the pattern, like the left, right.
Up, down, and then eyes closed. So that's the pattern I use is I have people look left, right, look up, down, and then I do eyes closed. Once you're really, really good at something, you can close your eyes and shake your head. But don't do that. Because that'll make you fall over. Okay?
Little complicated because of my right knee.
Right, so his right knee hurts. So go ahead, take a step. Just walk it out for a second.
Yeah.
And you're going to switch feet. You're going to put your right foot forward and your left foot back.
Okay.
Now we want to also work on the other side, right?
This is more comfortable.
So it's more comfortable for him already.
Squeeze the floor with your toes.
You want me to?
You can bend your right knee just a little bit more. I know it hurts. So he's got arthritis in his knee, arthritis in the hip, probably, low back issues. And these are the issues we face as we get older. And so what he's a very high fall risk for falling backwards. And then when you fall, you have a very high risk of breaking something, a hip, a shoulder, an arm. And once you've done that, then it makes you at risk for more falls, right? So go ahead, look left and right. He's a lot more stable on this side than the other side. And as you're going through this, you might find yourself getting more tired too. So
Start with your less balanced side first.
yeah. So you might want to start with the side that's more unbalanced first. But you always want to do it with a nice
Safety.
So he doesn't really need that because I'm also right here.
But if he's alone.
But if he's alone, another great place to do it would be I'll show you guys in a minute, is where there's something sturdy in front of you and something sturdy behind. You can just kind of bump into it as you fall backwards. And then look up and down. And come back to center, find something to focus on straight ahead, and close your eyes.
So when he came back to center, he straightened his legs a little bit. Instead of keeping that front knee bent a little bit.
And what you're doing here is you're focusing on your ankles, your knees, your hips. You're focusing on pushing your toes into the ground. You're really trying to grab the ground with your toes.
Mm-hmm.
And open them. And that's a progression. Now I'm going to just have them shake it out a little bit. And when I shake it out, you just kind of march in place. Right? Exactly. This next part I don't expect him to be able to do. He's kind of it's very difficult for him to stand in stride. So it's going to be harder in tandem. I've seen a lot, we were just watching some videos on YouTube. And the videos started off with single limb stance. So that's not a good progression. You got to progress and work your way up to being able to stand in a position like this. If you can't stand in a position like this, why are you practicing this? Right? Or why are you practicing on the other leg? So for him, it's going to be hard. We might incorporate the cane now. So his right knee hurts in the left hand. He's going to hold the cane in the left hand and put the right foot in front of the left foot. And I'm going to be here too.
And so will the standing.
And just getting to this position can be the exercise. Bend your right knee a little. There you go. Lean towards me just a little bit and forward. There you go. Now his goal is to lift the cane. And put the cane back down. And lift the cane. And put the cane back down.
Shift him back forward again.
Yeah, shift back forward this way again. You'll be able to see in the video.
You'll see it.
In a second, how you lean really far backwards. But bend the knee and lean forward. A little further forward. And towards it, my hand. And step. Shake it out. Left foot forward.
In front of this.
Yep.
Does he need to switch hands with the cane, or no, it's based on his knee?
We're doing it based on the knee.
Got it, okay.
Bend the left knee. There you go. That's
Ooh,
a much better position
yeah.
than the other side. Can you lift
The cane?
Yeah. That's good. That's good, though. This is why you practice something like this. If you can't do it, let's practice it. Let's make it
Comfortable.
And we're not going to incorporate the head nod, shakes, looking up or down, or closing the eyes. Because this is difficult enough.
See,
All right.
wobble.
And then relax for a second. So we're going to go over one more quick thing, which is sit to stand. Go ahead and sit down.
Oh, yeah, we practiced
I'll take this.
earlier, Dad.
We did practice this earlier. Go ahead and stand up. Oh. His legs are probably a little tired at this point. One thing I like to say is your nose has to be over your toes to sit down or to stand back up, right? If I have my weight behind my toes, my legs are out here, and I try to stand up, I can't, right? I have to lean forward. As soon as I lean forward, my butt starts to come up off the chair. Most people are afraid of falling forward, but they're more likely to fall backwards. This is one of the little tricks and techniques I use to get people to transition their weight onto their toes, is just leaning forward and coming back. Lean forward, stand up tall. When he comes up, he goes backwards a little bit. His toes aren't really in the ground. So go ahead, sit back down. And you can see when he came back down, his head came forward to sit back down. Naturally.
Yeah, even though
There it is. Now lean forward a little more as you stay with your knees bent a little longer.
even though
And then
you're,
come up.
even though you're going backward, you lean forward.
Okay?
I don't know how that works though.
So this is just a really, I don't know, what's this, 15 minutes or something of a progression of how to get somebody to improve their balance in a nice, safe, easy way.
One more time, Grampy, and glue your toes to the ground. Toes down, toes down, toes
That
down.
was good.
Yes.
And once you're up, keep them glued.
He did that time. That was so nice. Toes down, toes down, toes down.
Yeah.
Yes. Because he's doing all the other things you said, so I was just adding one more. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Oh, now so the person talking in the background is my mom. She's videoing it. She's videoing the video.
So one thing you can do is you can practice 10 sit-to-stands before breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 3.
These?
Yep. You just practice 10 of those.
Yeah, I think you've almost already done 10.
Help your legs get strong.
All right, let's go to the kitchen and see the balance in the...
I'll kind of show.
Is there space?
Grammy's been in there cleaning. Come on.
Here we go.
So you can see he's got a little bit of a gimp, a little bit of limp. Always kind of be improved with the use of this.
Then can you slide the chair out of the way?
In here, we're not sponsored by them. You have a nice little area. You don't want to have this thing there, but you can practice all of these. Here, Happy holidays, everyone. You can practice all of these same positions. Right here, you have something behind you to lean against. You have something in front of you to hold on to.
Hey, gorgeous.
It's probably even better.
Go on the other side of Daddy.
It's probably better than even there, because unless you feel like you're really going to fall down, because then you want something to sit on. But you can practice here, and you could practice this way too. So you can do your single limb. So the quick progression of it is wide base of support, right? I'm not going to fall over because I got these two things are holding me up and my feet. Less support, less support, less support. I'm going to face the camera. Less support, less support, less support, right? As I'm doing just on my toes. And what you'll see from professional athletes is they make it even harder. They're standing on like a ball and doing all of this, right?
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of different levels with which you can progress this. You'll see, and yoga, tai chi are great ways to get out into the community and practice your balance. But if you're going to do it in your home, this is a great way to just start. So you could practice just in here, single limb, hands up, hands up, hands up.
The tap.
So you're just tapping. And you might find out one leg's stronger than the other. It's going to be up to you to decide. And if you're really thinking you're having issues with it, consult a professional. And I am. That's why I'm working with him. But you can see he's trying his single limb. Gotta lean more forward. I see this was right. I'm gonna borrow this. Keep doing that.
Lean forward a little bit.
Yep.
So you'll see in the video too how he leans back, but then when you pass him lean forward in the middle of it, he'll just hinge at the waist. But if you get him set up correctly first, he shifts in his ankles and his knees together. So we'll watch the video.
Lean a little further forward.
He'll be able to see.
That's better.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye. There's our videographer.
Bye.
And there's Grammy.
Ready.